As President Trump prepares to host congressional leaders in less than 2 hours to discuss the looming threat of a government shutdown, he continues publicly pushing against Democrats. Speaking to NBC News on the phone Sunday, he said, quote, "The problem we have with the shutdown is that Democrats want to do all health care for illegal immigrants, people that came in, many of whom are criminal, that we are removing from our country. We're not going to do that. In addition, they want open borders, which we are not doing." Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Jason Crow from Colorado. Congressman, welcome. Good to see you. How do you counter that messaging from the president?
Well, it's simply a lie, Alex. This is not at all what's at debate here. What's at debate is the slashing of health care for millions of Americans, the purging of our critical government services and our civil servants that are doing things that are important for everyday Americans, from our air traffic safety to food inspections and safety to access to our public lands and our national parks, the political purging of our military, deployments of federal troops into cities and states that don't want those deployments as shows of force. I and others are simply not going to vote to fund those things. We've been very clear about that. I have over 150,000 constituents whose health care is at severe risk of being slashed. The rest of the people in the state of Colorado, around the country as well, are looking at 30% premium increases. We're not going to do that. So the Republicans have full control of the government. They control every branch. We've told them what our limits are, and now they have to reach out to us to negotiate.
How confident are you, though, that the American public, and particularly federal employees, will see any potential shutdown as not being the fault of Democrats?
I'm very confident of that because they see what's happening. They see the fact the Republicans control every branch of government. Democrats have repeatedly said, open up the door, start negotiations, start discussing this with us. They have actually literally shut the door and have refused to negotiate and even do the basic things that we should be doing on the verge of a shutdown like this. So, that is very clear for America to see.
Let me back up what you just said there, because Speaker Mike Johnson told House Republicans on a conference call just this morning he does not plan to bring the House back into session until next week. And that is according to two GOP sources on that call, who also added that several rank and file members, they pushed back on the idea of keeping members out of town until next week. So what does that tell you about where this could be heading? And is there any fracturing within the Republican Party about this?
Yeah, this is the perfect example. I mean, all the things that should be happening, negotiations, discussions, meeting with President Trump, actually us being in town to vote, the Republicans have canceled all of those things. And it's such a unbelievable, I'm almost speechless. I've never been in a situation where on the verge of a government shutdown, the party in power, the Republicans, have literally canceled votes. And not brought Congress back into session for us to negotiate, to have discussions, and to be ready if there is a deal struck to vote. They've canceled it. And one of the reasons they've actually canceled it is because we have a new member that's about to be sworn in, Adelita Gravelva from Arizona. And Adelita will be the 218th signature on what's called a discharge petition, which will force a vote on the release of the Epstein files. So what's actually happening here is Mike Johnson and the Republicans are preventing us from coming in, negotiating, voting to keep the government open because they don't want us to vote on the release of the Epstein files because of the cover-up that they are pursuing for Donald Trump.
So let's look at the nitty-gritty here and how this really trickles down to people and their livelihood, because according to Colorado Public Radio, your state has 41,000 federal employees, 36,000 active duty members of the military. They will not get a paycheck during a government shutdown. Then you add to that the threat from the OMB of a permanent reduction in force instead of just the usual furloughs. And here's how Speaker Johnson views it. Take a listen.
It's a burden that can easily be avoided if the Democrats will just apply common sense and do the right thing. But if they force that, the results are going to be on them, not on Republicans.
Now hang on, because the president said that he hopes that doesn't happen. So must federal employees lose their jobs if a shutdown happens? Are they going to see it as the fault of Democrats or Republicans?
Americans see very clearly what's happening here. Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, and the House Republicans are holding our federal government hostage, are holding benefits for our retayees, health care hostage. the welfare of our national security and our troops hostage because they are unwilling to actually even talk to us, to call us back into Washington, to negotiate, to be prepared to vote. We simply are not going to support an effort to do what this administration has been doing, which is destroying our government, politicizing our military, slashing health care. We are not going to do that. So we are willing to negotiate and do everything possible to keep this government going, but it is in their court now to actually open that door and start those discussions, which they have not done.
Okay, Congressman Jason Crow, good to see you. Thank you so much.